Are you struggling against the big guys in your industry? You're up against these market leaders who are so dominant in all areas and you feel insignificant. You're working hard to bring in the business, but you just can't seem to make progress. What should you do? Stop trying to win as Goliath. You need to learn to win as David. You need to learn to do what you do, win on the ball field on which you can win, and stop trying to play their game. How do you do it? The way you do that is by winning on depth, not on breadth. Meaning, there's a depth and a breadth game. I'll speak from my industry on Wall Street, but it applies to all businesses. The game is not about breadth and how many clients you can get in the door and how quickly you can get them doing their business. The game is how deeply can you penetrate your existing clients because they will bring you more. There's nothing like selling through other clients, meaning that you don't do the sales, they do it for you. Now, when you're talking about a Goliath who's got business being driven from 10 different angles through different verticals, that's different because you can't compete on that. But where you can win is in the one area where you can dominate them. The first step to that is knowing your value. What is it that clients value about you? What's the distinguishing characteristics and traits of your business that they don't have? It could be service. It could be rapport. It could be informational education. It could be a lot of things, but what it's not going to be is product. It's not going to be product if you're going up against Goliath. You need to win in another area. So, number one, know your value. How do you learn your value, your real value? Not what you say your value is and not what your marketing brochures say about value. Your actual tangible value to your client base will come from your clients' mouths. You need to go to the horse's mouth and find out what exactly is the reason they do business with you. Because guess what? If you know about the Goliath in your business, they know about the Goliath in your business. But they're not there, are they? They're with you. So go to your current client base and understand the actual real draw of why they come to you. You need to be clear about this. And people get this confused with what they want to hear. That's not where you want to go with this. Number two, once you understand the actual value, you need to target that properly. Targeting value is half the battle. Everyone wants to blast it out to everybody. Shotgun approach. We can do all things for all people. But guess what? The supermarket model's dead in every business. Sorry to say. You need to be able to target that value to the client type that is specific to you. There's someone who's coming to you for your thing. They come to you. They want this one thing that you've got because they're not getting it elsewhere or they would go elsewhere for it. You need to be clear on what that is and then transpose that to the other clients like that client in your bailiwick already. This is about targeting your value. One, you have to understand it clearly. Two, you have to target it properly. The next step after you understand about the value piece is engagement. You need to engage that client deeper and more clients like them. Meaning, you need to get up on the offense on this. This isn't, again, about product. It's about engagement. Get in with these clients in a manner that they don't have from any other provider. Of whatever service or product you offer them, they have to understand that you understand them the best. They relate to you the best. They come to you. They want you. They don't want the next guy. Guess what? They can go to Goliath. They don't want Goliath. They want David. And how do you do this? Stories. Stories are the big secret in sales. Stories about people that look just like the people you're speaking to from a previous experience. So you aren't selling, you are sharing. And this isn't some kind of fluff. Like you're actually going to share them with an entertaining yarn about something that really happened and what that client or prospect did and how they benefited. It needs to be engaging. It needs to be entertaining. And it needs to be structured such that the prospect or client sees themselves in what you're saying. The words speak to them. And not there in the conference room or there on the phone. The words speak to them quietly, in the privacy of their mind, when they're getting dressed for work the next day, on the commute. When they're thinking back, they're saying, I really understood what that person was talking about. That's when they come back. That's when they want to do business with a person that gets them. Because guess what? They can get that product anywhere. They can get that service anywhere. But they can't get that understanding, that depth, the recognition of their issues, of their struggles, of someone who can partner with them mentally, emotionally, however it might be. It's an emotional thing. Sales is an emotional thing. People purchase on emotion. You need to make that connection, and you do that through engagement. And you do that through stories. Now, there's a right way to do stories and a wrong way. Nobody wants to be preached at. But the person who can build relationships properly and convey those stories appropriately, that's your key. Because selling isn't really selling. As I said, you're spreading the gospel. You're sharing. You're making it to the point where that person wants to relay that story. Why? Because it was interesting. Because it was entertaining. Because there was value in it to them that they want to share with a friend of theirs. Sales doesn't happen from you. Yeah, you can start the ball rolling, but if you really want the avalanche, the snowball has to start at the top of the mountain. You're not going to be there for when it picks up snow, if you understand what I'm saying. Which leads me to the next point. Perhaps the greatest weakness of any major business, and certainly in finance right now, is the social channels. Social is where it's at. Social is where engagement happens. Social is where people talk. Social networks and these channels back and forth, and there's a gazillion of them, but there's really only 6 to 7 major ones, are where you can have the most impact, or where people can understand you better, and are where you can sell without selling. Because remember, social is not about push, it's about share. So here are 8 potential advantages that you can get from the social channels. Whether you know it or not, you should be using them. Number 1, it's a unique interface. It's not the phone, it's not the chat, it's not the text. It's a unique way to interface with your current customers, with your potential future customers, and with people who've had a good experience already. You can get information from people. You can feed them back information. You can create more of a buzz, and I'm not talking sales and push. I'm talking sharing, engaging, and helping. Number 2, you can creatively differentiate yourself as a firm, even as an individual. You can make yourself stand out. You can be distinct and unique and one of a kind, because guess what? When you're another David in the pack, you look like everyone else. You need to find ways to differentiate yourself, and the social channels provide that. If you take advantage of them properly, you do it wrong, you damage your brand. You do it right, you create fans. Which leads me to the third point. You can take your existing client base, especially the loyal ones, but anyone that's currently doing business with you, and you can make a tribe out of them. A tribe is the term they use, and those are the people who are truly in your corner, who will advocate for you, who will carry the torch when you're not around, who will defend you on the channels, who will do the things that you wish you could be out places to do at the time, but they'll do it for you. Number 4, you can inspire your own people. Not just the clients, not just the prospects, not push sales. I'm talking about drive the people inside of your own organization, get them behind you, not in the command and control, top down, banging on the hammer thing, but in the this is what we're about culture thing. We believe this as a unit, as a firm. When Apple was moving forward to reinvent the firm, they were changing the world. People that worked at Apple in the 80s and even the 90s could have worked somewhere else for probably more money. They didn't want to. They were part of something. Are the people in your organization feeling like they're part of something? Are they changing the business, moving things forward? I'm not talking about servicing clients. I'm talking about being a part, a corps d'esprit, being part of something bigger than them because they want to be. Everybody wants to be included in a movement. Everybody wants to be part of something bigger. Everyone wants to do work of significance. The social channels provide you a way to reach your own people. Number 5, you can illustrate a deep industry knowledge. You may know everything. You may be the nerd that gets it all. But if people don't know that you know it, it doesn't matter. So how do you illustrate that? Yeah, there's the standard white papers, and there's the emails you can send out, and there's the marketing brochures that we all know so well, but no one's checking those things. Nobody's opening those clicks. Nobody's doing that. What you want to do is share engaging content in a social manner where people say, it's interesting, it's educational, I learned something. Whether it's through entertainment, utilitarian value, or education. One of those things is going to hook those people, and they're going to watch or listen or follow because they want to, not because you're shoving it down their throat. Social channels give you that opportunity, and that generates its own level of respect. Number 6 is the ability to give potential customers the opportunity to see how you operate before they engage with you. Meaning, they get a sample. They get to check you out. It's a sample pack. They can taste what you're about before they get involved with you because they might not like you. They might not want to be. This might not be for them. You're not selling to everybody, remember? You're selling to your tribe, your loyal fan base, the people who can be part of that. And they need to know what you're about because not every firm is the same. I can tell you on Wall Street, I've worked for a variety of brokers. The Europeans, the Americans, they're all very different. Even within those subcategories, firms are like people, and every one of them is different from everyone else. And so the customers and potential customers want to understand that because they've switched jobs as well. They've dealt with different providers, and they know that. They want to know who you really are. This is your opportunity to show them without having to hammer them, without the formality of a business call, to go and do the dog and pony show, to show them what kind of an operator you really are. Number 7, you can create a synthetic sales force for yourself through word of mouth. Word of mouth is the game now. As I referenced earlier, sales isn't about how many people you can bang over the head. That's yesterday. Right now, nobody needs your information. Google has everything. They can learn everything they need to know about your product, service, and your company. They've got all that. What they want is engagement. They want to understand you. And once they believe in you and they like it and they're part of it, they become your sales force. They become the people that will bang the gong for you. And creating a synthetic sales force will always magnify you way more than you can magnify yourself. You can't hire enough salespeople to push. But you can pull with the proper engagement, and you can get those people out there to become your sales team. Number 8 is sort of a summary piece. This is about depth over breadth. As I said earlier, depth will win the game. When you're David, you're going for depth. When you're Goliath, you're going for breadth. If you've got access to all areas of the business and you can be a provider in any little niche and subcategory, great, do it. But if you're good at one or two great things and you do them the best, now you want depth. Now you want the guy that knows he can get that from Goliath, but he's not going to get it to the level that you could deliver it. Depth. Depth is connection. Depth of value. Depth is your key, because that's the only thing that's going to keep these clients there for you. In closing, I'll just summarize by saying people often confuse value with revenue. Value is quite distinct from revenue. They're not the same. You need to create the one from the other. You drive the revenue with the value, right? That makes sense. But people focus so much on the revenue that they miss the value. It's about the tail wagging the dog. It's about value. You do the value piece properly. You connect it, you engage, you deliver, and you're going to get the revenue. If you're focused on the revenue, and listen, we've all worked for these firms where it's spreadsheet city, right? The numbers are doing this day by day, week by week. I'm not saying don't track it, but I'm not saying that's not the driver of it. Revenue doesn't drive revenue. Value drives revenue. So if you're not delivering the value, don't worry about the revenue. It's not going to be there. If you're delivering the value, and remember, the clients determine that, not you, not your boss, no one else but the client. That's it. So stop pushing so hard for revenue and start pulling it in with value. Give that some thought.